little area up there because now you got. What about the Munchie Mart? How's that?
I haven't tried that one yet.
Page Street Market, right?
Good.
Which Dunks do you go? Do you go to a Dunks up there?
No, I'm not really Dunks guy.
Okay, all right.
I usually
Mojo's over there on right across the street from you.
Yep, Mojo's and the Pizza Man. I just about live at the Pizza Man.
Don't you miss Mako's?
Oh my god,
I miss
they were awesome.
I miss the pizza.
I miss the subs.
The pizza there had the pizza there had this like great flavor. I don't know what it was.
They used to make a tuna fish sub, and they put honey in the tuna fish.
Oh.
It was so good.
I don't know about that.
They were like 8 feet.
Yeah.
They were like 8 foot long subs for $5. Like,
They had a lunch buffet too.
Yeah. Great times.
All right, I know where the event is, and I will be there. Be my first time though.
Stop and get some General Gao at the Hong Kong City.
I'm gonna bring an 18-pack and a poo-poo platter from Hong Kong City.
Robio will be so impressed.
That's gonna be my gift.
Right on.
A poo-poo platter for $200.
That's gonna. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Now everyone's saying, "Hey, where's my invite?" I was just kidding. I didn't really get invited. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Always fun. Steve, thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
You'll try for trivia this week.
Yep.
All right, Matt. Again, thank you. Your list was mediocre.
Yeah, well, I'm going for a perfect score in trivia. 0 wins.
Yeah, you can't go for it though.
I keep it going every week.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Going to be nice out there today. Going to get up to about 54 degrees, so enjoy the first day of spring. Have a great day, everybody.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria. For delivery, call 603-782-8450. Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town. 1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Best cocktails around. Come in as friends and leave as family.
Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, 3 dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
You are listening to WMNHLP, Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Contact us by email at WMNH953@gmail.com or through our website at WMNHradio.org.
everybody. Welcome. Here we go. It is that time again. Matt Connerton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Tuesday, March 21, 2023. And oh my goodness, what a beautiful day outside. It is really nice here in Manchester. And if you are in Manchester, I hope you're able to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. And if you're not in Manchester, I hope it's as nice where you are as it is here. I guess. I mean, I'm kind of selfish. I just care about how it is here, to be honest with you. No, I'm kidding. No, but it is beautiful here. Beautiful here. It's only the second day of spring? It's in the 50s. Everything's just about melted. They do a really good job here with the snow removal, too, down on Elm Street, which, for those of you who are not in the Manchester, New Hampshire area listening online, and if you're not familiar, in Manchester, our main street in downtown is called Elm Street. There is a main street in Manchester, but what we call our downtown is actually Elm Street. Which has the distinction of being the longest street in the country that is a dead end on both ends. There is not a street in the United States that is a dead end on both ends longer than Elm Street. Quite a distinction. But they also, they do snow removal, and they did a really good job. But the one thing about that, I was saying to Jenny, and I say this every year, I just wonder how necessary it is, because once it's this kind of weather, everything's gonna, do you really need to remove the snow? Isn't the sunshine and the warm weather just gonna kind of remove it for you? I don't know. So I always question that, but they do a great job with it. You wouldn't know, downtown, geez, you wouldn't know it had just been winter almost. But anyway, I do so love this weather. But also the other thing about the snow removal is, what if it snows again? It could still snow. I don't think it's going to. I say that every year and then, hope for the best. But geez, there's been years where we've had snow in April. Prince even has a song about it. Sometimes it snows in April. But that's pretty rare, especially as the years have gone on and the winters have gotten milder. So I think we're good. But it is gorgeous outside. I've got a window open here. It's fantastic. So welcome to the program today. If you'd like to join us on this beautiful day, 603-250-6007 is the studio line, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connerton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com, or even just message me right through the site. You can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat, and we'll say hello to everybody in there in just a moment. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. By the way, if you missed yesterday's show, please go back and check it out. It, of course, is in the archive. All the shows that air here at WMNH, they go into the archive at WMNHradio.org. In the first hour, we were joined by Jessica Margison, a tenants' rights activist here in the area. And Jenny watched the hearing that we were discussing on yesterday's show that was happening today. She said it looked like it went pretty well. But that was in the first hour. And then in the second hour yesterday, we had a musical guest. We were joined in studio by Jesse Coffey. And if the last name is familiar, yes, that is Jenny's son. He brought in his guitar and played some songs for us, and we talked, and that was a lot of fun too. So we had a very busy show yesterday, but that is up. If you missed it, it is up at WMNHradio.org. Or if you want to see the video, of course, you can go back on the Matt Connerton Unleashed Facebook page, and we put it on YouTube and the whole deal. Today I'm alone in the studio, but I've got something pretty fun. At least, and it is political. It's a political story, but it's something that gave me a good hearty chuckle involving a certain undeclared presidential candidate. But we'll get into all of that. It's something that happened yesterday, but we couldn't get to it yesterday because it was so busy here on the show. But we'll get into it today. It'll probably be the first thing that we jump into. And I'm dying to talk about this because I have thoughts. But again, if you have anything you'd like to share, 603-250-6007. We'll go ahead and say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat before we get into some stuff. Crystal, our friend from the great state of Illinois, joins us and says hello, everyone. Jenny is in the chat room, of course, and says shalom, peeps. Jason Federson, known on the morning show as J-Fed. Well, I guess known on this show now as J-Fed because I also call him that. Now that I've heard Peter call him that. It does sound pretty cool. He's in the chat and says, good afternoon, everyone. Easy G Eric Gagnon joins us and says, Goldberg is now a free agent. His time is up. Yes. Professional wrestler and WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg. His contract is up. He is in the Hall of Fame, right? Easy? He must be, right? I assume. I mean, he's in his like mid to late 50s, but he's in incredible shape. But apparently his contract is up, which I'm sure Easy G is very happy about because Easy G is very ageist. Easy G also says, happy Taco Tuesday. Yes. I guess the taco tour is coming up. I know that because when I came into the studio today, I can't show it on camera. For those of you watching online, the camera doesn't pick it up. At least I don't think so. No. There's a banner in studio for the taco tour. And of course, when I see that, or is that for the tour, or is that, it says Taste Our Taco, or is that for something else? Maybe that's for something else taco related and not actually for the taco tour. Now I'm not sure. Anyway, when I saw it, the first thing I thought of was Easy G and Taco Gate, the terrible scandal when the entire city was engulfed in taco meat and sour cream, all because of Easy G. Jenny in the chat room says, I love this song. Yes, that was Hourglass by the band Dust Prophet. I needed a long song to open today's show because I was looking something up at the last minute, so I needed a little extra time, a little extra prep time. So Dust Prophet, all their songs are like 7 minutes. It's great. But that is a great band, of course. I used to be in a band with, so I'm a little biased. I used to be in a band with one of the members of Dust Prophets, Otto Kinzel, who is the singer in Dust Prophets. He and I used to be in a band called Chemical Distance. Maybe I'll play something from Chemical Distance today at the top of the hour. A little Red Queen's Race. That was kind of our little minor hit song. It did well for us at college radio. Maybe I'll play a little Red Queen's Race. Easy G does not like that song. He says, I hate it. It's awful. Well, guess what? That song hates you, Easy G. What do you think of that? Oh, and by the way, you know who else loves that song? Bruce. At least that's what I heard. Yeah. You don't believe me? You go ask him. I plus Michael's Law is in the chat room. I suspect I plus Michael's Law is from Greensboro, North Carolina, and says, hello there, hashtag Matt and hashtag Jenny. We say good afternoon. We say good afternoon to you, I plus Michael's Law. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us in the chat and says, hey guys, I'm going to refer to you simply as I going forward. It's too cumbersome to say I plus Michael's Law. I says, we say we love your afternoon show. Well, we appreciate the support. Thank you. I also says we are going to be getting us together for Kids Mark, we say, hashtag Matt Connerton. All right. I don't know what that means. Melanie says, happy World Down Syndrome Day. Yes, I did see that on Facebook. So today is World Down Syndrome Day. Let's see. I says, we say, hi, hashtag Matt Connerton. We said, and your son is doing a smooth job. I don't actually have a son, I plus Michael's Law. You might mean Jenny's son, who is not my son, but that might be what you mean. Perhaps you're confused. Or maybe you're referring to DJ Reckless, who's sort of like an adopted son. But I like to think of him as a slightly younger brother. Let's see. Oh, yes, I confirms. We are from Greensboro, North Carolina. Yes. Melanie says, I didn't know you used to be in a band. Why haven't you ever said something about that before? I think Melanie's being a little bit sarcastic. I've been in 174 bands. No, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot one. I've been in 175 different bands. Yes, quite a few bands. Speaking of musicians, Tony Petrello is in the Facebook live chat and says he actually talks about it often. Thank you, Tony. Let's see. I says in the chat room, we say your dad. Are you talking about my dad? Because he's sometimes in the chat room. He might be in the chat room right now. Are you talking to my dad and telling my dad that his son, am doing a smooth job? Is that what you mean? There's too many sons and dads around here. It's very confusing. That's why I don't have any children of my own. It's too confusing trying to keep track of all the sons and dads as it is. I was ahead of my time with that, actually, my decision not to have children, because birth rates are plummeting, not only in the United States, but globally. So I just like to think that everyone's following my lead. I'm a trendsetter with the whole no children thing. DJ Steve joins us in the chat room and says, hi, Matt. I play in bands, too. DJ Steve, Stephen Light, of course, you can hear every Friday night on Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. Actually, like myself, DJ Steve does double duty on Fridays. He comes in for the morning show, and then he's back in the evening for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. I, of course, come in for this show, and then I'm back for Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. Fridays are wonderful here, very busy, and we love it. We love it. But yes, DJ Steve used to sit in with Foghat, I believe. Let's see. I says, we say we like the other version of Hourglass by Squeeze. I do know the song, yes. Hourglass, there's probably a lot of songs titled Hourglass, actually. Let's see. Melanie says, what? How many of you guys are into music at WMNH? Let's see. Well, I'll tell you what, as far as on-air personalities here at WMNH, so yes, I played in bands. DJ Steve did, or maybe still does. Let's see, who else? Paulie C DJs. DJ Midas, of course, host of Late Night Delight DJs. Peter White was in a band, I think either in high school or after high school. I forget the name of it now, but he played the song on the air once. It was just something he was doing for fun, but it was actually pretty funny. I don't remember the name. I don't remember what they called it though. Jenny says, I did backup in a band. Kyle Heavey, host of Off the Mark Sports. He's a musician. He's been in bands. I don't think he's in anything currently, but he's played in bands. On Granted State of Mind, you have Rob Azevedo and Paulie Stone. Paulie Stone, very talented musician. Rob, actually, believe it or not, doesn't play an instrument. As much as he loves music, he's never actually been in a band and is not a musician. Rob Azevedo. Rob Dion, of course, host of Through the Stage Door, very talented musician. In fact, he does Name That Tune every Thursday on the morning show. Melanie says, are you kidding me? I DJ too. Yes, we know. Yes, we know. All right, let's get into some stuff. Well, let me give the number first, and then I've got something I want to get into, something very specific that happened yesterday that I thought was quite amusing. 603-250-6007 is the studio line, 603-250-6007. So there's this guy, and some would call him Tiny D. When I say some, I really mean one person, and that's former President Donald Trump. You know, he was trying to come up with these nicknames for Ron DeSantis. At first, he called him Ron, the governor of Florida. Ron DeSanctimonious was one. That one's a little cumbersome. Then he shortened it to Ron DeSanctus, which doesn't even sound like it means anything, which is weird. Another one he was working on was maybe Tiny D, which is what I vote for. I vote for Tiny D. Kind of makes him sound like a hip-hop artist. And by the way, the audio that I'm going to share with you, he does something pretty gangster, in my opinion, in this audio. But anyway, yes, Tiny D. So many of you you've either already heard the audio or you've already seen the video. So some of you know where I'm going with this. But I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it for you, for those of you who haven't heard it. But he made some comments yesterday at some sort of an event. Melanie says in the chat room, I never vote for Tiny D. What about you, Jenny? So Tiny D, Governor DeSantis, was at some sort of an event, and he's talking to, I don't know what the event was actually, if it was a press briefing or if it was rally of some sort. He hasn't actually announced his candidacy, so it was definitely not a campaign event. But he's giving remarks. Oh, it must have been a press briefing, a press conference, because he was taking questions from reporters. And he was asked about Trump. And, you know, the big storyline with Trump this week has been, is he getting arrested? Is he being indicted? Which doesn't look like it's happening this week, if it's happening at all. I think Trump kind of played everybody to test the water, see what the reaction would be. We'll come back to that, though. Put that aside for now. I want to focus on Tiny D, Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. So, let me put it this way. For those of you who haven't heard it, like I said, I'm going to play the audio and we'll go through it. But this guy did something, and I'm no fan of him. If you're a regular listener, you know I am not a fan of the governor, Ron DeSantis. However, I will admit he did score some points with me because he did something I thought was pretty amazing. He showed the world that it actually is possible to go out in public and vociferously defend somebody. You can go out and defend somebody because you feel that that they're being treated unfairly or unjustly, perhaps by the criminal justice system, whatever it is. You can actually go out and defend somebody while simultaneously sticking a knife right in the heart of the very person you're defending. Those things sound like two diametrically opposed concepts, but Tiny D, Ron DeSantis, figured out a way to do it. He actually did it, and it was amazing. And I heard this. First, I only heard the audio. I was in the car listening to the news, and I hear this audio of DeSantis speaking at this press conference. And, you know, for a guy who is not known for, because people have said about him, something I've consistently heard about him is that he is humorless. He has no real sense of humor. Doesn't laugh a lot, not particularly gregarious. Former aides have said that about him, you know, when they spill the tea, I think is how the young people say it. So, but when I heard the audio, I actually laughed. Ron DeSantis actually managed to make me laugh. And I don't mean that sarcastically or, you know, like I'm setting up a bit or anything. I mean, I genuinely was laughing. I thought what he did was quite hilarious. And it caught me off guard because of all the people to make me laugh. I never thought that he would, but he did. He made me genuinely laugh. But I wondered as I was hearing this audio, does he even realize why it's funny? And later, when I had a chance to, I looked up the video online of what he did and what he said. And there was not even so much as a smirk on his face. People in the audience, I couldn't tell from when I first heard the audio on the radio, but when I watched the video, I could hear it. People who were there in the room, they were laughing at what he was saying. They thought it was quite funny. But I didn't get any sense from watching him that he even realized why it was funny. Now you read that comment, Melanie. Well, you know, I'm Irish. I'm a little sensitive about that kind of thing. So I didn't sense that he even knew why it was funny necessarily, but he did do what he did intentionally. It was very intentional. He defended Trump and he stuck him with a shiv all in the same breath. It was amazing. Just to kind of set it up, and I'm going to play it for you and we'll go through it. And by the way, I'm sure I've seen things like this happen before, but I can't think of an example of it quite on this level. Or again, credit where due. I don't like the guy, but credit where due. He did this very skillfully. I mean, maybe it's to his credit that maybe it's not that he's humorless. Maybe he just is able to say, I mean, like I have an ability. I can say like ridiculous things with a straight face and not crack, you know. I'm pretty good at that. I have a very dry sense of humor. Maybe he just has such a dry sense of humor, you absolutely can't tell that he's kidding. I don't know. But this was expertly done. So what he does, what's about to happen in the audio that I'm going to share with you. So he starts out, a reporter asks him a question about Trump and the potential indictment and whatnot. And DeSantis is in kind of an awkward position here because he's the governor of Florida. So, and Trump lives in Florida at Mar-a-Lago. Trump's a resident of Florida. So what happens when, does DeSantis have to somehow get involved? Say they come to get Trump, they come to arrest Trump, and Trump refuses to go. Does DeSantis extradite him? What happens? I don't know that. I don't think any of that's going to end up mattering in the end. By the way, it's all conjecture. It's all theoretical. If we'll come back to all of that later, but let's focus on this. So he's asked this question. So DeSantis, so the first thing he does is he goes into his whole defending of Trump. And he almost like a robot, really. He says all the things that you're supposed to say. If you're a Republican, it's a political prosecution, and the Alvin Bragg, the DA, he's funded by George Soros, and it's almost awkward how he goes out of his way to hit every possible Republican talking point there is when talking about this. But it's almost like he memorized them, and then he's going through them in his mind in a specific order. But anyway, he hits on all the points that you have to hit on if you're a Republican, and you have to defend the God Emperor, Donald Trump, right? You have to do that, even though when DeSantis does inevitably get into the race, they will be adversaries. They'll both be vying for the nomination. They will be political opponents at that point. And Trump's acting like DeSantis is already in with his insults and everything. But DeSantis knows, just like Mike Pence knows, just like they all know, you can't risk offending the MAGA base, which still is, 30 to 40% of the Republican Party, at least. You can't offend those people or you have no shot. So he goes through the whole thing. He hits all the notes, all the talking points to defend Trump. And then, right, so he does that. He does what he's supposed to do. But then all of a sudden, he pulls out the knife. He pulls out the knife and he stabs Trump in the chest. Rhetorically, of course. Trump wasn't actually there. DeSantis didn't actually try to murder the former president. It's just metaphor. And it's very vivid and colorful and violent metaphor. And I apologize for that, but I don't know how else to put it. I mean, he really, it's like he goes out of his way to defend Trump as expected, and then all of a sudden he just sticks him with a shiv, and then he kind of pulls the shiv out and sort of brushes Trump off and says, "You okay, buddy? Sorry about that." And then he sticks it in again. It's incredible. Okay, here if you've already heard this or you've already seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those who don't, here it is. We're going to go through this. This is so this starts with the reporter asking DeSantis the question about Trump.
From the Florida Standard, we wanted to know what your thoughts are on the rumored Trump indictment, and if you have any role in it. If charges are brought on him, will you have any role in extradition to New York?
So I've seen rumors swirl. I have not seen any facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know this: the Manhattan District Attorney.
Okay, now he's going to go into the whole all the talking points that he has to recite. Everything that you're going to hear on Hannity and Tucker Carlson every night, right? And he goes through all that. A lot of what he says isn't factual, by the way. He makes some stuff up, of course, but doesn't have to be true. He just has to sound like he's defending Trump. That's the most important thing, right? Make sure you sound like you're defending Daddy so that no one gets upset with you. Okay, so this is him doing that. But then wait.
Is a Soros-funded prosecutor. And so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors.
Not true.
He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime.
No, but none of this is true. Not that it matters, right? But none of this part is not. It's just not true. And statistically, crime is down in New York. It's on a decline right now. the reason, part of why he gets away with this is because crime has ticked up over the past couple of years nationally. So he can get away with saying this and no one's going to well, I mean, I'll question it because I actually care about truth and facts and I can look things up. But if you want to believe him, you're just going to believe him, and it doesn't matter that it's not true. But this is part of the talking points, right? This is in other words, there's a larger talking point here that they've been using. That is, they're so hyper focused on Trump. Meanwhile, there's all this other crime happening that they're ignoring, which obviously is a false choice. You can investigate Trump and potentially indict Trump for something while still solving and investigating other crime. This is not a zero-sum game. But so none of this is true. Let me just back it up, though, a little bit, because I talked over part of it. Or I didn't talk over it necessarily. I think I just went blah, blah, blah. Anyway, here we go.
Of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't. Okay. So there we go. So he did his job there, right? Then he seamlessly, he defends Trump. And then he seamlessly goes into, time to pull out the knife and stick it in. Here it comes. So you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But what there it is. He didn't have to do that. I'm not criticizing him for it, just to be clear. But that was gratuitous, right? In the sense that he didn't have to go through the whole thing of defending Trump and then saying, look, I don't know what it is to, have to pay off a porn star to buy her silence, to give hush money to a porn star. I don't know anything about how that works. I hear this in the car. He gets to that part and I just start laughing. I was like, oh my God, that's, and again, I'm not knocking him for it. I thought it was funny. And the way he just kind of rolls into that, because he didn't have to do that. But here's what I think. Now, obviously, you could think of it as, well, he did that because he is going to get into the race. That's all but certain. He is running. He hasn't announced yet, but he is running. He's got plenty of time. I think the last thing I heard was probably May or June. He's going to finally announce. So far on the Republican side, it's still only Trump and Nikki Haley. But there's a couple reasons he might have done that, right? One is he might have done it to just kind of remind everybody for when he does run. So he's doing the obligatory defense of Trump, but he's going to remind you that he doesn't have that kind of baggage. He doesn't have a porn star that he has to pay off that he had an affair with. He doesn't. You're not going to get anything like that with DeSantis that we know about, right? So he's just kind of reminding you of that, So to keep this in mind, I don't know what it's like to have to deal with this. So I'm out of my depth on this, but I don't know. But here's the other thing. I wonder this: did he do that? Is that what they call a receipt? Oh, you're going to insult me? You're going to call me Tiny D? Check out what I'm going to do. We have a call. There's more to this audio, but we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connerton Unleashed. Who's this?
Well, I'm just going to say you should vote for Sununu instead for president. Just vote for Sununu, you licker.
I'm not exactly sure if he even said what I think he might have said, so I hit the dump button on that, but it'll be on the podcast. Vote for Sununu, huh? All right. Maybe. Who knows? See how it all shakes out. I doubt it. But I just thought that was funny. But that's not all, right? So he goes from that. Then he goes back into his defending of Trump.
Can speak to is that if you have a prosecutor
By the way, do you hear them laughing? They're like he doesn't even have so much as a smirk on his face. So he either doesn't realize either what they say about him is true and he's so humorless that he doesn't even realize that that's funny, possible. Or he's just so good that he can do that and not even crack a smile, not the slightest bit of a smirk, not winking at anybody. Just, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's probably rehearsed it. That's another thing I've heard about him. He rehearses this stuff. He's very disciplined about that on messaging. But he just, because that was just, he didn't stumble. He didn't hesitate. He just went right from defending Trump into the whole, I don't know what it's like to be in that position. I have never had to pay off a porn star. But what I can tell, and then he goes back into the defense of Trump, right?
Who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments. You know, that's an example of...
He goes back into the porn star hush money payments. He says this stuff about, he goes to the talking points about, he's just ignoring all the crime in his own city to go back to these porn star hush money payments. He made sure to go back to that. I backed it up a little bit.
Do something about porn star hush money payments. That's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that that's fundamentally wrong.
He knew exactly what he was doing. Tiny D knows what he's doing. It was totally gratuitous. He could have, if his only purpose in that was to defend Trump and slag off the Alvin Bragg, the DA in New York, he could have done that. But instead he goes through the talking points. And then it's like, and by the way, just to remind everybody, this is all about paying off a porn star with hush money. And did I mention this is about paying off a porn star for hush money? I just want to make sure you all understand that I'm talking about paying off a porn star with hush money. Just amazing. So I thought that was quite remarkable. And like I said, when I heard that in the car, I was laughing quite a bit. 603-250-6007 is the studio line. If you'd like to join us today, 603-250-6007 on the studio line. Now, one more thing about that. I do want to move on to some other things somewhat tangentially related, but apparently, even though he defended Trump. Now, and listen, if you take DeSantis's comments, most of that was defending Trump. The going out of his way to remind everybody that it was about hush money payments to a porn star, that was only a small part of it, right? Most of that was about defending Trump. But that doesn't matter. No, Daddy's upset. According to Mediaite, Trump goes scorched earth on DeSantis, raises questions about his sexuality, and peddles groomer smear. It says here, former President Donald Trump went scorched earth on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis after he weighed in on his potential indictment in the Stormy Daniels case brought by prosecutors in New York. Trump, in a post on the ironically named Truth Social, it doesn't say ironically named in the article here, I added that, raised questions about DeSantis' sexuality and once again peddled his groomer smear against the Florida Republican who is seen as a potential presidential candidate in 2024. Trump seethed, quote, oh, and by the way, apparently we're back to the Ron DeSanctimonious. I have seen, as far as the, that list, we went through the list one day that was being reported of potential or prospective nicknames that Trump had for DeSantis. DeSanctimonious was the original one, right? Like he unveiled that at a rally. He referred to him as Ron DeSanctimonious. And a lot of people were saying that's a little cumbersome. People aren't going to be quite sure how to spell it, which makes it hard to put it on a sign you hold up at a rally. Some people probably don't even know what the word sanctimonious means. So it's just a little bit awkward. Plus, it also doesn't work logically. If you're saying that, if you're calling someone de-sanctimonious, wouldn't that be the opposite of sanctimonious? So it's not really an insult. You're not really calling them sanctimonious if you're saying they're de-sanctimonious. Obviously, it's a play on the guy's name, but it just doesn't quite work, right? It doesn't hold up. Tiny D is still my favorite of the ones on the list. There was also Ron DeSantis. What was the one, Ron the Meatball or something? I do like food references. I appreciate those, but that one wasn't going to fly. But based on this Truth Social post, it looks like Trump is going with Ron DeSanctimonious after all, because it says here, Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about false accusations and fake stories sometime in the future as he gets older, wiser, and better known when he's unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are underage, or possibly a man. I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. There's an exclamation point at the end. Oh. Trump also included a picture from an article suggesting the worst about DeSantis' conduct with underage young people. And there is this picture that's been going around. It appears to be DeSantis with something resembling an actual genuine smile, which you don't usually see. A young Ron DeSantis with some even younger looking girls having a drink. If that's, I would just say to the former president, Trump, dude, that's the best with everything that's reported and reputed and even the bare minimum of what you've acknowledged and admitted to. And that's the best you've got against Ron DeSantis. Not to mention this, and again, I'm not a fan. I don't like either of these people, as you know, if you're a regular listener, but I mean, at least DeSantis served in the military, you know? I mean, what? I wonder if we're going to get a moment where, I don't know. That'll come up during debates, I'm sure. Assuming DeSantis gets in, which I'm almost certain he is. I'm sure that'll come up in debates that, DeSantis served in the military. And at some point, will he turn to Trump and say, what did you do in the war there, Captain Bone Spurs? Commander Tiny Hands, what did you do in the war? I actually served. Not that DeSantis saw combat. He was a JAG lawyer, I believe. But decorated. He's got a bunch of medals. I mean, that's going to be a lot for Trump to. I mean, I understand if you're hardcore MAGA, none of that matters to you because Trump is like, the God Emperor, right? But I think I'll be interested to see, is this the best that Trump can do? Is this one picture? Again, I'm not saying, by the way, if it's true, the alleged story behind that picture that Ron DeSantis was at that time a teacher and he was actually partying with underage females from the school that he was teaching at, that is bad. That is completely inappropriate. I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I'm not trying to minimize that. You shouldn't do that. That's not okay. But I'm just saying, though, is Trump really... maybe it might be a smarter strategy if Trump were to maybe give that to somebody else and say, hey, can you go and try to smear Ron DeSanctimonious with this picture? I don't want it to come from me because, number one, it looks like I'm punching down. And number two, am I really the guy to do this? I mean, think about it. There's a video of Trump. We've all seen it. Hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, sharing a laugh at a party. You've seen the video. Trump whispers something into Epstein's ear that Epstein apparently found so hilarious that he doubled over with laughter. And it's pretty obvious in the video what they're looking at. You can't see it because it's off camera, but you can figure out what's going on, what they're probably looking at off camera when Trump makes whatever this hilarious comment was into Epstein's ear, and then Epstein doubles over with laughter. So that video exists. The guy in that video has a picture of DeSantis with some girls from the school he was at having a beer. And that's his big, ooh, I got him. I got him. He's a bad guy. I mean, come on. Come on, man, to quote President Biden. So it says here, again, this is from Mediaite, Trump's scorched earth remarks came hours after DeSantis made snide comments about the former president while addressing the possibility Trump will be indicted this week over the Stormy Daniels hush money scandal. That's the thing, though. See, that's what's so clever about what DeSantis did. I wouldn't even call that snide. Did that seem snide to you? That didn't seem snide to me. That's what's so brilliant about it. He gave him, or just accidental, maybe that's just how he is. You know, he does seem to speak in kind of a robotic way most of the time. I don't know that there's an actual human under that, whatever that cybernetic organism is that houses him. But to me, it didn't come across as snide. It came across as very matter of fact. He's saying, you know, I think this is a prosecutorial abuse and this and that. And, I don't know what it's like to deal with this with a porn star and everything, but it didn't come across to me as snide. It came across as very matter of fact, but it got the point across. It did the job. Hey, I'm sitting here talking about it, right? It made me laugh. I thought it was hilarious the first time. So, but I don't know if it was snide, but Trump took it that way, even though DeSantis was defending him. DeSantis was literally defending him, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Trump took offense. It says here, DeSantis has not yet declared whether he will run for president in 2024, though he is often considered the most formidable challenger Trump would face in a Republican primary. Trump has been attacking DeSantis on a regular basis, though the feud has been mostly one-sided as the governor has tried to avoid hitting back at Trump directly. And by the way, that's something I think is smart and disciplined, too, on DeSantis's part. I know a lot of people are kind of puzzled by it, like, why isn't he hitting? See, something that actually people have been criticizing about DeSantis is, and I just don't agree with this. People have been saying, well, DeSantis clearly just doesn't have any fight in him. And when he gets into this race, when he does finally announce this, Trump is going to eat him alive. Because look at what's happening now. Trump is going after him hard. Punching down again, in my opinion. I don't think any of this helps Trump at all. I think it makes him look petty and weak. But he keeps doing this, and people are saying, well, DeSantis isn't hitting back. Why isn't DeSantis hitting back? I mean, that was the most, even that wasn't direct, right? What DeSantis did, the comments about the porn star, right? And people are saying, well, DeSantis, he just doesn't have the fight in him. Trump's going to just devour him. I disagree. We don't know yet if DeSantis has it in him because he hasn't announced yet. And I think, this is my theory, I can't see into anyone's mind, but this is my theory. I think DeSantis is just keeping his powder dry. He's trying to remain above the fray. He's trying to stay out of it because he has no reason to hit back at Trump until he is a candidate. Until Ron DeSantis declares his candidacy, he is not Trump's political adversary. He is not Trump's political opponent. They are not running for the same nomination. DeSantis is just the governor of Florida. That's it, until he actually declares his candidacy. So I think it's smart. If I were Ron DeSantis, I wouldn't hit back. I would ignore it. I would brush it off. I would stay above the fray. Maybe a little, maybe throw in a little, comment like DeSantis did in that response to that reporter. But other than that, no, I would play it cool. I think DeSantis is handling that part brilliantly. I think he's doing the exact correct thing until he gets into the race. Once he gets into the race, he'll have to take the gloves off because we saw in 2016 what happens if when Trump goes low and if you try to do the if you try to borrow from the other side of the aisle, if you're a Republican, if you try to borrow from Michelle Obama, okay, Trump goes low, I'm going to go high. That doesn't work. I mean, I remember vividly in 2016, Trump would be Trump and, with the name calling and everything and Rubio specifically, I remember Trump kept calling him Little Marco and, him and low energy Jeb. And, they all tried to kind of just remain above the fray, not stoop to Trump's level, because they figured, well, Trump is just making himself look foolish. Meanwhile, Trump is winning all these primaries and he's running away with the nomination. And finally, Rubio, it was pretty embarrassing. Not that I hold it against him. I don't blame him for this. He was desperate. He didn't know what to do and frankly had nothing to lose. Rubio actually did try to go to Trump's level. I remember watching a campaign rally where Marco Rubio started talking about Trump's little hands, his tiny hands. And he started trying to insult him that way, the way Trump insults people on their appearance. And it got a little bit of a laugh from the audience that Rubio was in front of course, because they were at a rally for him, so they were supporters. But and it actually did get a little bit, he did get something out of it, Rubio did, because at the next debate, Trump actually showed a little bit of respect for Rubio, saying something about, I was wrong. I call him Little Marco, but I was wrong when I said he's a lightweight. He's not. He hit me on my hands. Nobody ever brought up the size of my hands before. So I give him credit for that. So he actually managed to win a little bit of respect from Trump, but it wasn't going to help him in terms of, Rubio remained well in the in the single digits rather. Trump was in the double digits the whole time. Rubio remained in the single digits. Jeb looked particularly terrible up there. It's like Jeb was like punch drunk by the end of most debates. And it wasn't like Trump was hitting him with anything substantive or really solid policy arguments or anything like that. Things that Trump wouldn't be capable of anyway, right? Trump was just saying things like, oh yeah, you're a real tough guy, Jeb, just mocking him. And that was all it took. And Jeb was just, listless, like a... Trump's calling him low energy Jeb, and Jeb's just kind of standing there like, I don't know what to do. I guess I am low. I don't know. So the point being, DeSantis won't be able to maintain that sort of remaining above the fray, kind of thing, not engaging directly when he does get in. When he does get in, he'll have to meet Trump on Trump's terms. But until he actually is a candidate, he's playing it smart. Not taking Trump too seriously, not paying him much attention. There's just a little bit more here to this article from Mediaite. So it says Trump's latest post comes a month after he posted the same picture as part of a meme depicting DeSantis getting drunk and partying around with students back when he was a high school teacher. At the time, DeSantis responded to that by saying, quote, "I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans," unquote, which was a very mature way to answer that and to respond to it. He did respond to it, but he just didn't, but he never mentioned Trump by name, never responded to him directly. He just said, "I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans." By the way, this might bode well for DeSantis. If all Trump has is that picture, because Trump first posted that a month ago, like it says here in Mediaite, and now Trump's fuming over DeSantis's porn star comments, so now Trump is using that same picture again, trying to smear him, and he's just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. That's good for DeSantis, because that might mean there is nothing else. He's using the same picture. That might mean that's all he has. And using that picture and then making all these assumptions about what's going on in the picture. All it is a picture of DeSantis. It looks like he's holding a beer. He's got a big smile on his face. There's 3 younger looking women in the picture with him. They're all smiling. It looks like he's partying with these young girls. We don't know if he's actually drunk. We don't know if they're actually drunk. We don't know if he's, over 21 and drinking a beer and they're under 21 and drinking ginger ale. We don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's okay, but, Trump is just, he's putting that picture out there and saying, let's assume the absolute worst about what's going on in this picture. Let's infer the worst possible things that are happening here. Is that all he's got on DeSantis? What else does he have? Now, again, that doesn't mean that there's not something else, and that doesn't mean that Trump and company don't know other things that they're just holding back on until DeSantis actually gets in. But I don't know. That might be it. And if that's it, well, Trump isn't, like I said earlier, Trump isn't the guy to be putting that out there, I don't think. Wow, we're already almost at the top of the hour, so we will get to a break in a moment, but I do want to, I do see a lot of comments in the Facebook live chat, and if you do want to get in with a quick call before we go to break, of course, the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You have to be a real person, though, if you're calling. I did see that whoever called earlier from an anonymous number was calling back multiple times, and I'm just not going to pick up if I think it's you, and I'm just going to, if you're going to call into the show and just swear or say something or just something obscene that I have to hit the dump button for, then there's no point in calling because nobody's going to hear it. I think there's people I actually like. If you're a longtime listener of the show, you know this about me. I actually enjoy prank calls as long as they're clever. I've actually, and we can do something with it. Like I'll go with the bit if there's a bit there to go with. I will. I'm unlike almost any other radio host in that sense. I've made great friends with people who were trolls and prank callers, and we ended up having some fun, and it was great. So I don't mind that at all. But if you're going to call the show and say something that I can't let go out on the air on FM radio, then I have to dump it because we're on a delay. So I can do that. I can dump it, and then it ends up not being heard. And the only person who hears it is me in my headphones. The audience doesn't end up hearing it, so there's just no point. So you're not accomplishing anything with that. Just so you know, do something clever, and hey, I'm all for it. Call up as a funny, weird character or something. I have a very strange sense of humor. You'll be surprised at some of the things I'm willing to go with as far as a bit. We've done some strange things on this show over the years. Some of them very entirely spontaneous. Well, there is a conversation going on in the Facebook live chat that I probably won't. I'll leave that to the ladies to discuss. That might be a discussion for Matt Connerton Unsheathed, the other show that I do that does not air here on WMNH. Let's see. I says in the chat room, hashtag Matt Connerton, we say we will like to give a shout out to Jenny Coffey's son, Jesse Coffey. Hello, hashtag Jesse Coffey. You rock, we say. Yes, if you missed it yesterday, Jesse, Jenny's son, was here in the second hour with his acoustic guitar and played some songs for us, and it was quite wonderful. I also says we will be performing soon for us, hashtag Matt Connerton. Let's see here. I says, Melanie La Liberty, we sing and dance, becoming a pop singing group, we say, hashtag Melanie. And Melanie asks, do you play birthday parties? My husband is planning one in September. And I says, we will, hashtag Melanie, and we will be performing for someone's birthday party. Oh boy. All right, let me scroll down here. So Crystal, our friend from Illinois, says in the chat room, the New York AG, Attorney General, makes himself look bad trying to prosecute on campaign finance crime, which is really a federal crime, not a state one, and up to the FEC to pursue. New York AG needs to stay in his lane. Well, I don't think it's out of his jurisdiction, or he wouldn't have even been able to do this much, Crystal. So I disagree. Melanie says in the chat, but isn't that exactly something someone who has paid hush money to a porn star would say? Oh, what DeSantis said? Oh, maybe DeSantis. That's a good point, Melanie. Crystal says, Stormy Daniels was just on a reality show a few months ago. She has a haunted doll that she takes with her everywhere she goes. Ooh, that sounds frightening. Yikes. Never into adult films myself, although I can think of one other instance of adult film stars actors, shall we say, intersecting with politics. There's probably several examples, but back when, geez, what was it, 20 years ago now? Could it have been that long ago? Maybe 15 or I don't know. Back when the recall was happening, when in California they recalled Governor Gray Davis, and they had to have a special election, a recall election to replace him. And it was all these people were on the ballot. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up winning. But there were all these people on the ballot, and there were so many people running that they had a game show. I think it was on Comedy Central called Who Wants to Be Governor of California? And it was just one episode. And I don't remember most of who participated in that. Gary Coleman was one of the contestants. But Mary Carey, who is an adult film actress, she ended up winning. So she won the game show of Who Wants to Be the Governor of California. However, it was only a game show. It was non-binding, so she did not get to actually become the governor. Crystal says, just Googled, it was The Surreal Life, and the haunted doll is named Susan. I'll tell you what, I would not want a haunted doll of any name. That's for certain. Melanie says, I'm enjoying you calling him daddy. I says, we will do something good for the kids, we say, hashtag Matt Connerton. Crystal says in the chat room, quote, unfairly attacked, with laughing emojis. As Trump continues to attack him, knowing DeSantis hasn't even said he's running for office yet, Trump needs to just sit down and shut up. Oh yeah, none of this is good for Trump. It like I said, he looks like he's punching down. And not only is DeSantis not a candidate, even though he's obviously getting in, he's been traveling to Iowa. Has he been here? I know he's been to Iowa. You don't go to Iowa or New Hampshire unless you're running for president. But or if it's fall and you want to see the foliage here in New Hampshire, of course, our beautiful foliage. But all the polls I've seen recently still has Trump significantly ahead. Like, Trump is still, in my mind, I call him the presumptive nominee. I do think he'll be the nominee. Let's see. Geez, okay. Crystal said something. Now, this is about the picture that we were talking about, DeSantis with the girls. Crystal says the photo of beer in his hand could be DeSantis at a family cookout joking around with his nieces or cousins, for all we know. That's a great point, Crystal. The only thing that makes me skeptical about that, why I don't think it's that, is because if it was that, I would think someone would say that. I would think either DeSantis or one of his family members would come out publicly and say that that's what it was. You know what I mean? Just to debunk that right out of the gate. You know, unless they wanted to not do that and just kind of continue to rise above it. But and Crystal shared a link to an article. Even Obama. What is this? Obama to serve more homebrewed beer at White House. That's from an article from 2011 from NPR. Oh, yes. Well, there's nothing wrong with, although Trump, interestingly enough, that's one thing we know, at least if you believe him. And I do believe him on this, because it would just be such a weird thing to lie about. Trump claims to have never had a drop of alcohol in his life. But I think that, and part of that comes from his brother. He had an older brother, I forget his name, who was an alcoholic who ended up dead. So Trump never has touched alcohol. So that's one thing I do admire about him. He's straight edge. But yes, Obama likes beer. I think most people like beer. Brett Kavanaugh, I almost said Chief Justice. No. But Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Remember, he talked about it during his confirmation hearing, how much he likes beer.
I drank beer with my friends. Sometimes I had too many beers. I liked beer. I still like beer. Had beers, have some beers. One beer, drink beer, drinks beer, drank beer, and drinking beer. You've probably had beers, Senator.
Each week, Ralph Club biggest contributor.
You know, I got a weak stomach, whether it's with beer. I like beer.
You haven't answered that.
I like beer. I don't know if you do.
Okay.
Do you like beer, Senator, or not? What do you like to drink?
Next one.
Hanging out and having some beers with friends, which I gladly do in which I fully embrace.
That's right. Well, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. I recommend the beers at the Hop Knot, by the way, are an amazing sponsor. But yeah, so it could be that, Crystal, but I doubt it, because I think someone would have said something if it was just him hanging out with family. But we are past the top of the hour. We need to get to a break. I think we're going to play a little song, and then we'll show some love to our amazing sponsors. I'll tell you what, I think we're going to play, and partly for selfish reasons, because I get this song stuck in my head all the time. Our friend Tim Legassi from the band, well, actually, it's not really a band because he plays all the instruments himself. It's a solo project, but it sounds like a band. Downhill Rollers. He was with us and in studio, and I love this song. Whenever I talk about politics, this song pops into my head from Downhill Rollers. It's called Savages. Let's play this. It's such a great track. And then we will show some love to our amazing sponsors, and then we'll be back with the balance of our show. Hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connerton Unleashed coming up. So don't go away. There's plenty more to come. No beer, though. We do not allow alcohol in the studio, and I'm not really a drinker anyway. But we have lots more show for you coming, so don't go anywhere.
Everything they touch
come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry, located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria. For delivery, call 603-782-8450. Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town. 1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. Best cocktails around. Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Welcome back, everybody. We are well in hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connerton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious, and it is a glorious day outside. Glorious, I say, downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Tuesday, March 21, 2023. So nice to have you all with me. The studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connerton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com, or just message me through the website. And of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. I see Miriam Banish has joined us in the chat room. Hello, Miriam, as well as Rosanna McMahon. Hello. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is give us a call at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. We've been talking about a little bit about, well, we talked in the first hour a lot about Ron DeSantis, but I've got, a couple things here that I wanted to go through kind of quickly. Today was supposed to be the day, by the way, according to President Trump. He had posted on Truth Social about he expected to be arrested today. Not only is that unlikely to happen today, it's probably unlikely to happen this week, and it might not happen at all because he might not even be indicted. I think he played everybody. This is my theory. I don't think Trump had any reason to think he was going to be arrested today. I don't think he got any kind of a heads up that it was coming today. I think he arbitrarily decided that today would be a good day to say that he thought he was being arrested to see what would happen. This is my theory. I think he wants to gauge what the reaction would be. Is the party still with him? The base of the party is the MAGA nation still intact? How will people react? Will they be willing? Because he didn't just say in that post he thought he was going to be arrested today. He said he there should be protests. You should protest this. Rise up. I don't know if he said rise up exactly. I don't remember exactly what he said, but anyway. The point being, I think this was sort of a trial balloon, if you will. I think he wanted to see how people would react and how the media would react, and if he would get support or, because with every step, there's always the risk for him that at some point, everybody who has supported him just throws up their arms at once and says, okay, that's it. We're done. This is exhausting. We need somebody new. Let's just move on. Knowing that that's unlikely to happen, I'm sure he realizes that's unlikely to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. And every time there seems to be a moment where it looks like the right moment for it to happen, it doesn't happen. So there's that core of the base, that third. Polling data shows there's at least a third, 30 to 35, 36% of the Republican Party that is still ride or die for Trump. They are so enamored with him still. They worship him. So that hasn't changed, and that number hasn't moved recently. So I think he wanted to kind of see what the reaction would be if he puts it out there. Hey, I think this is about to happen. I also think, there's reporting. Maggie Haberman has been saying, and she seems to kind of know Trump better than anybody, at least in terms of the reporting that she's been able to do based on the access that she's been able to get. And she's been reporting that, journalist Maggie Haberman, that Trump is very anxious about the prospect of being arrested. This is a theory. I have nothing to base this on. I don't have any sources or anything. This is just me speculating. I think he's probably excited more than anything else. I think he wants to be arrested because, and this goes to the other reason why he might have made that post. I think that he knows that because it works very well for him, that messaging, that message of inclusivity. We're all in this together. When they come after me, they're coming after all of us, all of you who support me, all of MAGA, right? When they persecute me, they persecute us all. And that's very effective. Look, when the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago happened, looking for secret documents, remember, why did we find out that happened? Because he told everybody. They tried to keep it low key. He goes on Truth Social and says, look, the FBI, they're at Mar-a-Lago. This is crazy. Look at what they're doing to me. We might not, I'm sure we would have found out about it, but we might not have known about it the moment that it happened. But the moment that it happened, he told the world. And then what was the next thing that happened? A whole lot of fundraising, a whole lot of contributions and donations went in to his PAC, right? So it's fantastic marketing. So, and he loves to play the martyr. And why shouldn't he? It seems to work for him. So I think there's a part of him that relishes the idea of being arrested and indicted. I think I think it makes him a very, it's not good in the long run for him. I think it makes him, having a criminal indictment makes him would make him, in theory, if it happens, a very poor general election candidate. But it makes him a lock for the nomination. I think he's going to be the nominee anyway, but you're going to have so many people who are just like, oh, look at what they're doing to him now. We have to give him, he needs our support now more than ever. Look at this persecution. So I think he relishes all the legal problems. Obviously, I'm sure it's anxiety inducing on one level, but I think he also really enjoys it because he knows it helps him politically. I can't, by the way, I can't think of an equivalence in history. I can't think of another politician who actually benefits from bad publicity and legal problems, whether they be criminal or civil or what have you. I cannot think of another person in history in the United States who actually benefits from that politically prior to Trump. I think he's the first. He's kind of a trendsetter that way, I guess. He's a trailblazer. Maybe not a trendsetter because I don't think anyone can replicate that, but I think he's the first and probably the only one. But I do. I think if he gets arrested, it actually helps him. I think it genuinely helps him. Let's see. Some comments in the chat room here. Let's see. Crystal says, when Trump asks people to protest on his behalf and, quote, to take our country back, unquote, he should have added in peacefully with no violence, no rioting after what happened on January 6th. Well, of course he should have, Crystal, but he didn't. And I strongly suspect that was a conscious decision to not add that. Jenny says in the chat, I think you are wrong. The grand jury is not finished yet. When they are done, we will know if he will be arrested. Oh, I'm not saying he won't be. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm not saying I don't think he will be. I'm just saying I'm not convinced that he will be. The grand jury is not done, which means there is still time for Alvin Bragg to say, I don't think, because when the grand jury is done, if the ultimate determination is, well, here's what we have, but it may not be enough to get a conviction, then they're not going to go forward with it. So I think there's still a chance that he's not arrested and indicted on this. He's got plenty of other legal issues to worry about beyond this. But I mean, if I were a betting man, the way things sound, gun to my head, I would say, yes, I think he will be. But I'm far from convinced that he will be. Jenny says, I'm betting never in his life has he ever accepted responsibility. He's never said it was my fault. No way. Yeah, agreed. Melanie says, oh, you haven't seen the petition? He is asking for 1 million signatures and $3,000 plus from everyone who signs. No, I haven't seen that. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I haven't seen it. So Melanie shared a link in the chat room. This is from businessinsider.com. Oh, okay. Yep. This went up this morning. Yeah, I hadn't seen this. Donald Trump wants his 74 million supporters to sign. I don't know where he got 74 million. I assume from votes he thinks he got in the last election. I don't remember the numbers, but hey, he did get more. You know what? Can't take this away from him. He did get more votes than any other sitting president in history. So it was quite a big. It might have been 74 million. Donald Trump wants his 74 million supporters to sign a petition railing against his potential arrest. Those who sign it are asked to donate $3,300 and more. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me. Some bullet points from the article. Donald Trump emailed voters on Monday asking them to sign a petition protesting his possible arrest. See, that's the whole reason. I'm telling you, he had no reason. He had no reason to say, I think I'm being arrested on Tuesday. He had no reason to do it. Except this. It's another money grab. That's the pattern. That's what he always does. It's a grift. His team says they're compiling millions and millions of signatures decrying the threats. He also asked for donations to his campaign with suggested amounts ranging from $24 to $3,300. All right, so here's the main article. Former President Donald Trump asked his followers to sign a petition denouncing his potential arrest in New York. Signing the petition, however, leads people to a page where they're asked to give $3,300 or other suggested amounts of cash to his 2024 campaign. Trump's team wrote in a Monday email to supporters seen by Insider, quote, they're trying to intimidate you, in all caps, and cancel out your, in all caps, vote. See? It's not even clever in that it's so obvious, right? Or if you're able to look at this with a critical and objective eye. That's just that's the kind of marketing that, look, I operate in the e-commerce world. I understand email marketing. That's what you do, right? But it's especially effective in politics, and it's especially effective for Trump. That's what he's always done. This isn't about me. This is about all of us. This is about you. It's almost as though they're coming to arrest you. It's almost as though they're coming to arrest you because of your payoff to a porn star. That's what Ron DeSantis would say if he were addressing it. He would say, yeah, this email, personally, I've never needed an email going out to my supporters asking for donations because of a payment of hush money to a porn star. So I can't speak to that, but that's what Ron DeSantis would say. Let's see. That's a callback to earlier in the show if you weren't listening to the first hour. Okay. The email also said, quote, which is why the Trump for President 2024 campaign is compiling millions and millions of petition signatures from Americans like you condemning, in all caps, these threats of a possible arrest. It also called on 74 million patriots to answer the call and sign the petition. What's more patriotic than giving a politician your money, right? It says here, Trump could soon be indicted by a New York grand jury in connection with the Stormy Daniels hush money payments case. Trump has said without evidence that he expects to be arrested on Tuesday, though no indictment has been confirmed by the Manhattan DA's office. Upon clicking the petition link, recipients are taken to a page asking for donations to, quote, help defend, in all caps, our America First movement during these dark times, unquote. Very simple, but very effective messaging. They've got pros writing these emails, that's for sure. The message says that supporters can donate any amount, but suggests sums like $500, $1,000, and $3,300, among others. Trump did not specify how he intends to use the list of supporters, nor did the website display a tracker of how many signatures had been collected. The Trump campaign also said that donations via this form will yield a 1,500% impact. Huh? But doesn't explain how Trump will do this. He has previously promised donors that he will multiply the effectiveness of their cash donations without evidence. What does that even mean? That's just nebulous. What does that mean? Your campaign donations will have a 1,500% impact. Huh? I have no idea what that means. I mean, I guess that's a lot of impact. Wow. 1,500%. The fundraising gimmick has been also used by other politicians, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. However, many campaigns are now avoiding the tactic after the Justice Department in 2021 sentenced a political scam artist to 20 years in prison, in part for using this claim fraudulently. What claim is that? That your donation will have a 1,500% impact? That's bizarre. Trump has repeatedly tried. By the way, I'm sorry. If you are going to send money to somebody because they promise, not just Trump, anybody, because you get something claiming that your donation will have a 1,500% impact with no further explanation of what the hell that even means. Well, you know what they say about a fool and his money. I have no sympathy for you. You can send as much as you want to someone who makes that claim. And then cry about it afterward. I'm a very empathetic human, and everybody makes mistakes, but I will have no sympathy for you in that kind of case. If someone tells you, give me your money and it'll have a 1,500% impact. Oh, okay, here's some money. Oh, that sounds really good. 1,500% impact. I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive. Trump has repeatedly tried to raise funds from investigations or government actions against him. Yes. Such instances include, and I was just talking about this, when the FBI raided his Mar-a-Lago residence and when the January 6th House Committee voted to subpoena him. Oh, yes, there was that, another helpful fundraising moment. Most recently, he's been using rumors of his indictment to raise funds on his social media platform, Truth Social. Insider previously reported, he said that supporters shouldn't send him anything if they're doing poorly, quote unquote, but told them to, quote, send your contribution if they're doing well. That's not, now that, hey, listen, that's nice. That's considerate, actually. If you're doing poorly, don't worry about it. But if you're doing well, hey, let's get you that 1,500% impact. What do you say? Of millions of there's millions of people who just can't see the grift, and yet it's like the most obvious thing in the world. And there's millions of people in this country who are completely oblivious to all of this. It's depressing. I'm laughing, but it's depressing. Oh, God. God help us. It says here, the former president and his team also send emails to potential donors every day, often touting rewards, like a chance to dine with Trump and the privilege of signing his birthday card. What? Really? Oh, boy. How's that? Really? Is that fun to do? I didn't even like that. Like when I had when I was a manager at a retail store, I didn't even like when, somebody would approach me. Oh, Tom's birthday is Friday. Let's can you sign his card? I mean, I would do it, but I would do so grudgingly. I'd be like, yeah. I got work to do. All right, here you go. No, I'm half kidding. I'm not that much of a curmudgeon, but I would sign the card. But I wouldn't write any kind of a special note. I would just put my signature on it. Don't push me. No, but I mean, that just struck me as funny. You can sign his birthday card. Wow. Actually, I'd like to sign his birthday card. I'd have a nice birthday message for him. Let's see. One such email in June promised supporters the title of Great MAGA King status, which appears to be an animated GIF of a scroll. Okay. Geez, why not? I mean, at this point, why not just go all the way with it and bring back Trump University? Oh, I'm sorry. That got shut down, didn't it? Because everybody who went there sued for being defrauded. Not that I have a lot of sympathy for them either. I mean, if you sign up for something called Trump University and expect you're going to get some sort of an education, again, a fool and his money. I only have so much sympathy. I mean, that would be like, gee, yeah, I don't know why, but when I think about that, every time I think of that, the next thing that, because I seem to recall seeing an infomercial, the next thing I think about is, I don't know if people will remember this would have been back in the 90s. Wow. I would see these late night infomercials. There was this guy named Don Lapre, and he would promise, if you sent away for his money making kit, he would send you this kit explaining how to make money by placing tiny classified ads in newspapers that would generate more money. And he was very earnest in his delivery too. He ended up committing suicide. I think he ended up in prison and committed suicide. So, but if he were still alive today, he'd probably be running for office, because for the idiocracy political climate that we have now, I'm sure he'd do very well. But yeah, he used to very earnestly say, I'll show you how to make money placing tiny classified ads. And I remember seeing on one of those shows like Inside Edition or something, there was an expose about, I don't think it was only about him. I think it was about that whole sort of scam in general, because it was an old scam. It was like the envelope stuffing schemes. It was just, you're like, in his case, you're placing tiny classified ads about how to make money placing tiny classified ads. So if somebody buys something from your tiny classified ad about how to make money placing tiny classified ads, you're sending them something about how they can place tiny classified ads, and they can just do the same thing that you're doing. And it's all a big scam. It's a grift. It's a pyramid, really. And there's no actual product or service being bought or sold. It's just nonsense. So Don Lepre, look him up if you're interested. I'm pretty sure he's the one who committed suicide, because he ended up in prison for his scamming and scheming, and he seemed like a nice guy though in the ads. I actually would enjoy his infomercials. I liked his earnestness. I'll show you how to make money placing tiny classified ads with a 1,500% impact. No, he didn't say that part. That would be awesome though. He should have. I wish he had. I wish he'd been the guy to pioneer that, and then Trump was just using that today. That'd be fantastic. Let's see. It says here, Trump has been accused by the January 6th House Committee of raising some $170 million from his baseless election fraud claims. However, he's unlikely to face fraud charges on these allegations, legal experts previously told Insider. Representatives for Trump and the Manhattan DA's office did not immediately respond to Insider's request for comment. Let's see. Tom Blanchard in the chat room says, as my father-in-law would say, he's full of malarkey. Yes. Well, Joe Biden would say that too, President Joe Biden, in addition to, come on, man. Wasn't one of his campaign slogans, no more malarkey? I'm not even kidding when I say that. I think that was at one point, but it didn't test well, and so they ditched it pretty quick. Wow, we're already almost out of time. All right, let's look at this quickly. This is from Politico.com, and then I've got something from justsecurity.org, which I wanted to get to today, but I don't think we're going to have time. We might have to save it for later in the week, but I'll just tell you quickly the thing that we might not get to from Just Security, which is a great website, by the way. There's some really cool stuff here. Survey, it's an article titled Survey of Past New York Felony Prosecutions for Falsifying Business Records. That is what, just to be clear, this is what Trump might be charged with, falsifying business records. It's not the paying off of Stormy Daniels. It's the falsifying the records. And that is something that people are prosecuted for. And that's what this article is all about. It gives us a list of examples, of recent examples of prosecutions for this very thing in New York. So the reason they put this together, just to show that, you know, when people say, well, this isn't something anyone's ever, this is purely a political prosecution. Nobody's ever charged for this. No, people are charged for this and people go to prison for this. But we're going to put that aside for now, though. I don't think we're going to have time for it, because what I wanted to do first, this is from Politico, although this isn't very long, but everything you should know about the potential Trump indictment. Is Trump definitely going to be indicted? What does a grand jury vote entail? And will his mugshot be taken, and other questions answered? So let's look at this first. This is just a quick primer, and it'll get us all caught up. And I'm sure there's details in this whole thing that I've missed. It says here, with Donald Trump expected to be indicted in the coming days, his supporters, critics, New York law enforcement officials, and a variety of other constituencies await the history-making spectacle of seeing criminal charges brought against a former president for the first time. In many ways, the mechanics of indicting Trump are likely to be the same as they would be for any other defendant by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. In other ways, they may be quite different, largely due to the fact that Trump enjoys the protection of the U.S. Secret Service and draws supporters who've resorted to violence in the past. Here is how the expected indictment of Trump is likely to unfold, although, as with most things related to the former president, expect the unexpected. Okay, so this answers a few questions here. So, first, is Trump definitely going to be indicted? Politico says no, but it appears very likely. The Manhattan DA's office has brought numerous witnesses before the grand jury and offered Trump a chance to go before the grand jury, an indication that the office will seek to indict him. Though it is possible for the grand jury to vote against charging him, grand juries rarely decline to indict. And if the DA's office thought they were in danger of the grand jury voting no, prosecutors likely would have paused the proceedings. So in other words, if Alvin Bragg didn't think that this was worth pursuing, they wouldn't pursue it. That's why, we don't know what additional information they have. The Justice Department decided ultimately to take a pass on it. But now Alvin Bragg is pursuing it. So he must feel, for it to get this far, he must feel confident that they've got something. Okay, next question. What does the grand jury vote entail? After prosecutors finish presenting witnesses, an assistant DA will tell the 23-person grand jury which charges they will be considering and will read them the text of the law. The grand jury will then leave to discuss the case and vote on it. An indictment requires 12 or more jurors to vote yes. If that happens, the vote will be recorded on a form and signed, then taken by someone from the DA's office to either the clerk's office or to the office of the judge who is overseeing the grand jury. It will be placed into an envelope sealed and stamped by a clerk. How will we know if and when Trump is indicted? Well, I'm sure Trump will tell us, or we'll find a way. But it says here, once the indictment is stamped, the DA's office will notify an attorney for Trump that he has been indicted. At this point, Trump is free to make this information public. Oh, and he will. I've been indicted. Send me your money. If you're doing well. If you're doing poorly, don't worry about it. But if you're doing well, let's get you that 1,500% impact. Okay, next question, or questions. Will he be arrested? Will his mugshot be taken? When will he appear in court? So Politico says, because the case is white collar, the DA's office will ask Trump's attorney when he plans to come to New York to be arraigned. The law doesn't require a defendant to turn himself in within a specific time frame, so the timing here is flexible. Whenever he comes to New York, he and his attorney will report to the DA's office where Trump will be arrested and booked, which means he'll be fingerprinted and have his mugshot taken. He may also get a DNA swab. It is unclear how his Secret Service protection may affect this process. Yeah, that's a big question with all of this. But by the way, so they'll go to New York. So if you're anyone who's waiting, you think that law enforcement is going to, because I think this is what some of the people who are protesting or whatever they're doing outside of Mar-a-Lago, I think this is what they're expecting. And maybe they're going to form some sort of human chain to keep out law enforcement. That's not what's happening. They're not going to go there. It's not like law enforcement from New York is going to go to Mar-a-Lago to arrest him. It doesn't work that way. He'll have the opportunity to go to New York and when he's ready, I guess. Not an indefinite time frame, of course, but I would assume. Let's see. He'll then be taken to a judge where the DA's office will ask for the indictment to be unsealed. It is possible that he'll be handcuffed when he is transported from the DA's office to court, a short walk away within the same building. At this point, he'll be arraigned, which means he'll have to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then he'll be released because the charges he is likely to face are non-bailable. What happens next? The judge will set a date for his next court appearance, usually for the defense and prosecution to discuss additional steps, as well as a potential discussion about the discovery process. After his initial court appearance, Trump will most likely be able to return to his Florida home or wherever he chooses. Final question. And how far will House Republicans take their Bragg investigation? Yes, House Republicans want to investigate Alvin Bragg. Investigate the investigators. Jim Jordan, of course, is one of the guys who wants to do that, of course, because he's Jim Jordan. Anyway, it says here, House Republicans followed through with a pledge to investigate Bragg over claims of a politicized judicial process, but the probe is still in its infancy. By the way, I don't think there's anything, I don't think Congress can investigate state level law enforcement. I don't think you can do that, can you? I'm not sure. Representatives Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, James Comer, Republican of Kentucky, and Brian Stile, Republican of Wisconsin, the chairs of the Judiciary Oversight and Administration Committees, fired off a letter to Bragg accusing him of, quote, actions that will erode confidence in the even-handed application of justice and unilaterally interfere in the course of the 2024 presidential election, unquote, if Trump is indicted. A DA spokesperson responded saying that they wouldn't be, quote, intimidated by attempts to undermine the justice process, unquote. Republicans are giving Bragg until 10 a.m. Thursday to set up an interview with committee staff. They also want a tranche of documents and records, including any related to federal funding or communications with the Justice Department and other federal law enforcement agencies. Those requests are for now voluntary, and the letter does not include a mention of a compulsory process if Bragg does not comply. In other words, no subpoenas. I imagine Bragg will ignore it since it's not compulsory, and he kind of has his hands full. He seems kind of busy, doesn't he? Let's see. Crystal posted in the chat room. Okay. Okay, there it is. I'm sorry. Falsifying records is something Trump has done. It's even discussed in the Netflix documentary, The Trump Empire, that Sean Hannity helped create. His early real estate deals, he lied on his assets, and NYC was desperate and bankrupt at the time. President Ford told NYC to blank off when they asked for money to bail them out. NYC never verified Trump's assets at the time. That was stupid of them. Yeah. Let's see. What is this? Jenny just sent me someone named Edward Jarvis apparently was listening. Oh, ooh, cool. I love having haters. This is great. He said, while driving, I happened upon your channel. The incoherent ramblings you started attacking Trump went on that he is the only politician who benefits if he is arrested. Ever hear of Nelson Mandela, the Rev King? That's not what I said, Edward Jarvis, if you're still listening. What I said was, I can't think of somebody in American history who has benefited from his legal problems as much as Trump has. Of course, I've heard of Nelson Mandela. Have you heard of the phrase American history? Because that's literally what I said. Nelson Mandela, not a part of American history, but good try. And I do appreciate the feedback. I actually do. Let's see. My dad is in the chat room. We're almost out of time, but we'll get this in. Let's see. Dad uses voice to text. Sometimes it comes out a little garbled. It says a mother among, okay, it's supposed to be among other things. Got it. Among other things, Matt, this is the raw politicization, I can never say that word, politicalization. There's a couple of variations of that word too, which makes it tricky. Politicalization of the rule of law. I disagree. And the equal application of the law, the state has run out in terms, the statute has run out in terms of the time it could be addressed at best. I don't think that's true. It is a misdemeanor. This is not good for the country. And Bragg was supported by George Soros and his money. And he is the one who is letting out criminals and felons on misdemeanor charges in the city of New York, leading to the death and rape of people. Don't support this man, Matt. This is the politicalization of the rule of law. This ultimately will help Trump. However, I predict that. Well, I do agree with you that it will help Trump. I mean, all of it helps him win the nomination. But I believe that no one is above the law, not even the former president. And so I mean, I'm not taking, look, I'm actually, if you notice what I've said about this, though, I have not said that I want to see Trump arrested and indicted. I just want to clarify that for somebody. In case anyone misunderstands anything, I've not said that. I've not wished for it. I've not said it. I predicted that it was probably more likely to happen than not. But I want to be clear about that. My view of it is I want to wait and see how this process plays out. But if there is something to charge him with here, and he has done something illegal, I do want to see that play out. But no one is above the law, including the former president. So I want to see how this plays out. But if they think they have a case, they should bring it. And this other stuff is a distraction. By the way, I never did get around to addressing it earlier, what Ron DeSantis said, and this, what my dad said reminds me of this. DeSantis said in his comments, he was talking about, crime being up in New York. That's actually not true. So when people play this game of, well, Alvin Bragg, he's paying all this attention to Trump while he's letting crime run rampant in New York City. Number one, that's obviously a false choice. You can prosecute the former president, investigate and prosecute the former president, and do everything else you have to do in terms of crime. But crime is actually on the decline in New York City. That's a fact. Oh, no, actually, I did address this earlier. I remember now because I pointed out that the reason people get away with using that talking point and they don't get called on it very much is because nationally we've seen an uptick in crime over the past couple of years, which finally did subside and has now been coming down. But in New York City specifically, crime has continued to decline. It did tick up, but now it's going back down, and it has been going back down. So if you want to say, well, Alvin Bragg, he's just, he's so focused on Trump, he should be focused on this other stuff. And another reason why they get away with that talking point too is there's also this general narrative, some of which I agree with, not about Alvin Bragg specifically, but there is a narrative out there that that some have pushed this too far, these liberal ideas of no cash bail and things like that have actually had a negative effect and that have caused an uptick in crime. Some of these reforms that have gone too far in terms of bail reform and others, I agree that that's a problem. So I do agree with conservatives on some of that criticism, but of course they go over the top with it, as respectfully, Dad, I love you, but as you have in your comment, and try to make it sound like, well, Alvin Bragg, he's just letting all this crime happen in front of him because he's just out to get Trump, and that's I don't agree with that. Let's see. Oh. According to Jenny, this Edward Jarvis she says regarding Edward Jarvis, he must have been listening. He deleted his comment, LMFAO. Of course, I have a picture of it. Well, that's fine. Maybe he misunderstood what I said. Hey, listen, Edward, if you're listening, believe me, I don't take anything having to do with the show personally, and I appreciate criticism. Constructive or otherwise. And not only do I love having people who love the show, I love having people who hate the show. If you hate me, or you just don't like me, or you're lukewarm on me, or you like what I do, it's all good. I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you taking the time. Again, whether you like me or you hate me or somewhere in between, the fact that you actually took the time to comment on something that you heard on my show, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. So I just want you to know that. I appreciate everybody. All right. On that note, we are absolutely out of time. I don't think I even really have time to play a song, so we'll probably just hit the theme music and fade out on that and into the next show. Oh, it is Tuesday, which means immediately following this program, if you are listening live on Tuesday, coming up next, I believe, is Through the Stage Door, hosted by the great Rob Dion. Coming up at 6 p.m. And then after that is the replay. If you missed last Friday's Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C, that will be coming up as well. So you can hear that. And I hope that you will and enjoy that. And if you missed any part of today's show, this will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnerton.com. But yes, we are out of time. I must go. I must take my leave of you. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you to everybody in the Facebook live chat. The phone was a little quiet today, but that's all right. We had that one prankster. Hey, I even love the pranksters, as I explained earlier. All right, that's it for us for now. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.